The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
We have a lot of people from Nepal who are into the football of very renowned faces, and for our listeners, Ricki is a phenomenal coach who took New Zealand to World Cup as a player and as a coach, and also managed Northeast United and Maldives national team among a host of teams. So, if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask. I'll start with Mahesh. Bro, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Or before that, I'm so sorry, Ricki. Do you have anything to say?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. It's great to be talking to so many people that love the game of football. So thank you kindly.
Hello, Ricki. This is Moise. First and foremost, I would like to thank the host, our Subhas Ashish bro, for making this possible, and welcoming all the senior coaches over here, especially Bal Dai and Vishnu Dai from Nepal. So I would like to ask and tell our Baldai first any questions or any queries about something.
Hi, good morning to everyone. And thank you for inviting in this webinar. So we could start a conversation, then we can. I really don't have any queries for that. I haven't made any sign up. So once we start our conversation, then we can discuss it with nothing. Maybe Vishnu anyone has a question. Vicky.
Sure, Vishnu, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Good morning,
Hello.
everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you much for this opportunity, and I'm very, very glad to be here. And I have one question. I have lots of questions. Let me ask more. We do the periodization, right? So how much important this one for every coaches?
Sure.
Sorry, Subhash, I couldn't quite hear the question.
Okay, so the question is like most of the coaches involve periodization in football. How important is it for all the coaches?
For periodization?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look, very much so. I think when you look globally now, the ability to map out, to organise and illustrate the variance in a training program over a period of time, it would depend slightly on the type of coaching appointment or coaching position that you're in, whether that was around a seasonal league season, that you are a club, more so in a club environment through a club coach. Probably a little different. The experiences I've had through a national coach is that you're very much around, the 12 months of the year, the planning of those players, the club activity that they would have versus the time component that they would be involved with you from a national team perspective. And what does that periodization look like? What components are you looking to apply to the areas that are most important, that are going to provide the biggest depth and the biggest growth in all the players that you have to provide you with the best outcomes from a result perspective? And that probably crosses across a large section of, is it technical work? Is it tactical work? Is it strategy? Is it physiological work? Is it rest and recuperation? So there's quite a vast range of sort of scenarios that you would consider, but it's an excellent question because I think it's a very, very important part of where we're all heading now in the football landscape.
Sure. I just have a follow-up question to that. And generally, like Ricki, like generally people follow two people's, like one is Mourinho and one is Raymond Varane periodization, which is very famous. Which one do you personally prefer, or which one do you take inspiration from, or do you take both?
Look, I think I'd probably take a cross section of both of those gentlemen. I think there's some excellent periodization analysis from Mourinho, probably more so through a club component. And I think just being able to provide that and what that looks like and absorbing that. But I think for everybody that's on the link today, it's really important that whilst there's some global understanding and there's certainly some very, very good information from some excellent coaches in different parts of the world, it's always nice, I think, as up-and-coming coaches or current coaches or coaches that have been involved for a period of time, to actually try some different components. Because I think there's always the involvement. I think it doesn't matter whether you're Mourinho, you're coaching in Nepal, you're coaching in New Zealand, you're coaching in Oceania at some point. There's always going to be that added, part of that characteristic that you're looking to add, that really special ingredient that you could well bring yourself. And, no matter where you are coaching around the world, you will have some constraints, It doesn't matter. So some of the EPL coaches have constraints at some point, at some stage. But you also have, on the flip side, you'll also have some fantastic different opportunities within your own environments that other people don't have around the world. And that's kind of what I felt when I went to India, when I was in the Maldives, coaching at a World Cup. There was always that element of something that I wanted to tap into to try, that I thought culturally might be something different, that I could roll out through the team, kind of like an experiment. And I think you should never be afraid to fail, giving that a really, really big opportunity to sense what maybe could be different for you, but has a really, really strong result for your team.
Definitely. And before we move on, I have one more small question to that. And being the moderator, I'm asking everything. That's quite weird, but yeah. So for a young coach like me, okay, and who's just starting out, I'm very young in the coaching world. If you could simple down or break down the meaning of periodization, what is it?
Look, it would be dividing up the season. It would be dividing up the type of work that you would provide through that periodization. So if you took a 12-month calendar and you divided that up, whether you did it in 2 parts, perhaps you might do it in 3 parts, given the length now of some of the seasons. And then you're looking to put the ingredients into those different periodization parts and breaking them down to then supply that back into the player. So again, it could be some rest and recovery. It could be a physiological program combined with technical work. It could be skill acquisition work. It could be delivery. It could be strategic work. It could be getting your whole platform out there. So it's just really, because what happens is if you operate on a long period of time without having periods of different delivery, then it's very difficult to be obtaining 100% output and outcome from your players at the highest level that you possibly want. But what you will find, guys, and I think, and I certainly found this coming into some of the new markets that I went into, is you're always you need to have a plan, and you need to be very comfortable with that plan. And you need to be very confident with that plan. And whilst you'd be making some subtle changes along the way, which even the best managers in the world make subtle changes, that you stick through and hard so that the outcomes can be very positive and you can find the solutions far more easier if you don't have a plan. And I find now with a lot of up-and-coming coaches that everybody wants to know what system to play. Everybody wants to know what style to play. But there's a lot of work to do before you actually get to that point. And I think it's getting that where you're comfortable with the types of players you've got. Physiologically, what are the players capable of doing? So I think there's a lot of work around, the types of players you've got how they're going to mould into the system you've got. Physically, what are they capable of delivering on the field? And when I talk physically, I'm talking, what are their abilities to actually get around a football field for 90 odd minutes at a really high level that could be far more consistent and at a completely different level than your opposition.
Definitely. So, anyone else can go out with their questions if you have.
Hi, once again, and to everyone. I have a small question. I'm working. I have an academy, and I'm working on like youth football development plans. So I want to ask Ricki. So, what are the key things you focus on when you're working on like youth, like making main plan? Like, what are the key things do you have to focus like when you're developing like the young player?
Yeah. So you have an academy running?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think that's great to hear that you have something up and running. So, in New Zealand, I have my own academy, and we have a 3-stage network on how we operate. So we have our young children that are coming in from so the early stages of their learning. So they would be children that would be somewhere between the ages of sort of 4 to 7. Then we would develop from there 7 through to 11, and then we would have children that would go from 11 through to 14. And in each of those categories, we break down a training curriculum. So I have a different curriculum, which has a different trend to what we do. It has a strong element of technical work, and when you're working with children, I think one of the key components is the dimensions and the areas that you work in will determine the pace of the football. And as the children get a little bigger, then the areas and dimensions that you work in can become bigger, and the pace of the player, the movement of the player, and the speed of the ball can increase. So when you're working with the younger ones, to keep it simple, precise, make sure that the organisation of your area is consistent to the age group that you're working with, to allow for the technical development to help and to take place. So we're very strong. We have a 150-page document that we have across the academy that we roll out at the different age groups that align and slowly build the children to when they get to 14, which they would have then had a taste of the tactical side of the game. So strategically, how we want the academy to play, because you have a couple of things, gentlemen. You'll have strategy, and you'll have the technical side of the game, so the tactics. Okay, so strategy being what system you want to play. So let's say it's 4-3-3. Then you would have the tactical side of the game, which is how you want to play the game within inside that strategy. So are you a possession-based team? Do you play slightly longer? Do you play up from the back? You don't play up from the back. You play with wingers. You don't play with wide players. You play with attacking fullbacks, or you don't play with attacking fullbacks. So you start to build the building blocks all the way through that actually provides the children with the technical base. Because technically, if players can't operate at a good level technically, and you'll see around the world now, the best players in the world are very good technically. The physiological side is a building block that can come later in the preparation of their life.
Thank you.
So definitely, I have one more follow-up to that, Ricki, and like you spoke about the player development and how you train according to your system that you feel that you want to replicate as a academy, or if you are a feeder to a club, the system they play. But don't you think, like, if you are maybe training the youth in that way, you are maybe only improving them in that particular aspect? Suppose you're playing three at the back, so you're only training them with playing with three defenders generally, as in, like, where if they would be moved on to a team where they have to play with like 4-4-2, or with four defenders with two full backs, don't you think it will be difficult for the players in that system? It will be maybe holding them back in their development.
No. So when you're teaching, okay, the two very strong components, gentlemen, that you should consider is, because what you've mentioned there is you're teaching players the principles of the game. So the principles of the game align to when a team has the ball and when a team doesn't have the ball. So it wouldn't matter whether you were playing a back three or you were playing a back four. If you're applying the principles, then it's the same analogy. So if you don't have the ball, then you start to look at the principles of defending. Okay, so compact, tight, then your distances are important. So if I'm playing, sorry, I put my hands up, sorry, because I'm not on the, I can't get on my laptop. So if I'm playing with a back three, then I still need to have, if you can see what I'm trying to put, I still want to have my distances in relationship to those players. Even if I add another player, those distances are still the same. My principles are still the same. We move across the field and we move up the field as a unit. When we're attacking, then I apply the attacking principles. So if I've got a back three defending and we receive the ball, I want my back three to open up because I'm looking to make the field as big as possible. When we're defending, I'm looking to make the field as compact as possible. That denies passing opportunities from the opposition. Maybe the only opportunity is to play the ball into a wide area, which becomes less threatening. So it's very important, though, that in the learning, and the gentleman who's got his own academy, and certainly to all the other gentlemen that are on the call, that don't go to systems too early, because around the world systems change regularly. Keep teaching the principles of the game, because the principles of the game don't change. So you'll get a list of what those principles are like. So defending, compact, support, depth, all those sorts of things, and then the opposite for the attacking. So no matter what you're doing with the younger children, so you're working with them technically, but when you put them into game-type situations, then you're teaching them those principles. So when they start to mature and they go into some sort of strategy or tactical way of playing, that they have a very good understanding of what those principles are.
Definitely. And like, okay, Mahesh bro, if you have any question, you can.
Yeah, as we are talking about the youth development, there is some period of youth player that they are going to distract from playing football or something. They lost interest over a period of time. So how can we build an impact on them, their bonding in the team, their interest in the football?
Yeah, look, I think it's providing a very, very healthy and good culture environment. And I think that's really important, that no matter what you're doing in the programs that you're operating, and whether you're working with younger players or, as the other gentleman, you're working in an academy, that it's a place where people want to come to. So it's well organised, it's well. I can't speak more about having plans, having a plan in place that's actually communicated out to the broader community, to parents, to other coaches, that's communicated down to your players, that they sense and feel that it's the right place to go. I mean, if you look at education, then young players, young students excel more when they're in schools that are very vibrant. Communication's good, the learning's good, and it comes down to yourselves and the coaches and the characteristics of yourselves and how you're delivering those programs. What your demeanor's like, what your communication's like, what your follow-up after training sessions is like. I mean, do they just turn up and leave and they don't hear from you again until they come back again? Is there some way that you can keep that communication going? Is there a link? Is there a message page that they could be on? Could you be sending them some little homework to do that's of interest and is exciting? Is there some video clips they could be watching, of some of the best players around the world executing some of the models and some of the training, plans and sessions that you're looking to provide for them as well? So, you just really, do they turn up? Can you provide them with some training gear, or have you got enough equipment? It's just looking to have the bit. And I know, and we have it in New Zealand. Sometimes some of those things aren't possible to the level you'd like, but it's the intention of yourselves to make sure that you've got it right. Do you turn up on time for training? Are you already there, prepared, ready, that when a parent drops their child off, that they see this amazing training session that's already organised and planned that their child is coming to? Because it's all about first impressions. It's all about yourselves. It's about the coaching, and it's the way that you can go and deliver that in an effective way to the up and coming talent that you're dealing with at the moment.
Definitely, and so we'll move on. Vishnuda, if you have any question, I think you are in mute. I don't know. You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
I have?
No, not you.
Oh, sorry.
Ricki sir, in the one training sessions, what do we need to consider?
Sorry, in the training sessions?
Yes, what do we need to consider? It's
Okay.
like we consider about the player's psychological or sociological, technical, tactical. What do we need to consider?
Yeah, so in a training session, they would say that there is a 4-pillar approach.
Exactly.
Okay, so you'd have tactical, you'd have physiological. Okay, yeah. What else? Maybe you can help me. What else would you deliver?
Psychological. It's very important for me.
Yes. So psychological, tactical, mental.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're always trying to work across those 4 pillars. So whilst you'll have a range of themes that you're going to deliver from a technical point of view to your players, you're also conscious of what those 4 pillars and are you actually implementing those 4 pillars every time you have a training session? And I think from your planning and preparation, that's why your training session would be planned around those 4 key areas. That you would have some technical work, so you would consider the psychological, the mental, the connectivity of the children within the group, and you would be ticking off those 4 areas every time you're doing a training session. Because sometimes what happens, children come along to the training and it's just 30 minutes or 60 minutes of training and no consideration of those other areas. So it's strongly positioned now around the world that you would consider those areas very, very much across everything you do.
Definitely, and I just had one more question to that, Ricky. Suppose you have your training sessions, and you said you groom the players according to your cycle, what your philosophies as a club, academy, whatever you are working with. So when the players come in, do you train every player for every position, or how do you select this player is going to play this position? As a kid coming in, what do you do?
Yeah, so I think the art to that is you need to give children the experience. So, because we have it in New Zealand, and I see it all around the world. Players and parents want their children to play maybe number 9 because they score all the goals. So you need to provide the children with the experience of understanding. And when you teach the principles to children, then the principles are appropriate across any position and any strategy that you want to play in the team. If every single player at the highest level understands the defensive responsibilities and the attacking responsibilities within that team. So when children are younger, I think it's really important to give them a different bearing of where they are on a football field. So players, from a perception of playing in a wider area, that their body shape and their visibility of seeing the game is different than somebody who would play in a more central position in the team. So you're providing the opportunity through training modules that get them the understanding of having that 360 degree peripheral vision of seeing a football game. So if somebody only ever plays, let's just say, as a right fullback, then they'll never understand the movement of players that play centrally. So it's always good to put them into challenging positions. So the gentleman who asked about or the areas of components of training, so one of those is that social perception of being able to see 360 degrees. Now that can be effective mentally, okay, or psychologically with that player. So when you change somebody who's maybe been a wide player to play them centrally, then that has a psychological effect. We may not sense that, but trust me, the player will go through a psychological challenge of what that looks like and how they can adapt and deal with it as effectively as what they can do when they're playing in a more familiar role. So your training elements can be very much like that, where they're playing in different areas of the field, that they have different challenges within those areas, but they're still working and understanding on what the principles are, defending and attacking, no matter what area of the field they're in. Slowly, you start to build those blocks with the players. You will get to a point where a player is far more suited to play as a number 9 than he is to play as a fullback. Those decisions will become clearer, but sometimes what happens, when you have limited amount of players, sometimes you play your best players in those stronger positions. That doesn't mean to say that that player is going to be good in that position when the challenges come when he gets older and the numbers of players start to increase. You see so many younger players now, gentlemen, that start at the front of a system and end up at the back. A lot of players coming through the junior side. Hence, we try to, in my academy, to give players a variety of opportunity. And we get them to try, because why can't somebody playing on the right-hand side play as effectively on the left-hand side? It's only because technically they're probably not as strong. So we need to provide that chance for them to limit what that difference is, being stronger on the right and not being so strong on the left. We need to bring that up where they're actually very strong on the right and they're strong on the left. Maybe they may not be quite the same, but they're very close. So you're always trying to bring that lowest denominator higher to the top. So psychologically, I put my right-footed player and I put him on the left side, and he's really struggling with it. So I can give him the technical training, but I need to now help him psychologically. So it's providing the vision for those young players of this is what it's like at the highest level. This is what the best players in the world can do on the right side and on the left side of the football field. And you're bringing them to the transparency, the visibility of seeing the best players in the world operating and bringing that comparison back to the children so they have that aspiration to work towards it rather than they're very strong on the right, so they always stay on the right.
Definitely. So if anyone else has any questions.
I just want to hear some experience. Like, it's not more than a question. And like Ricki, you've been working in different countries. Like you work in India, Maldives. How does like cultural aspect, the socio-economic aspect, bring challenges when you're coaching a team? So how do you, like, in your experience, how did you adapt to those situations? What are the situations you faced? So just I'd like to hear some experience from you, like, because when I'm coaching, I think there's lots of such situation, like different situation. So
Yes.
which I had to adapt, like because of different cultural background and socio-economic situation.
Yep. So and that's a very, very good question because you know I have had the privilege of working in some very exciting places. First of all, from my perspective, it was to be incredibly respectful of the environments I was going to work in. So the easiest thing to do is if you go somewhere where socially, economically, it's difficult, but financially it may be challenging. It's easy to go there and say you need to change everything and it needs to look different, because in some aspects that's never going to happen. So in my experiences, I used to spend my first month making sure I understood the culture. I understood the country, and I understood socially the challenges that may be in front of me. It could be training facility, it could be equipment, it could be just the environment generally, it could be the difficulty in players getting to a training session. And then I go back to the initial comments. What is my plan now going to be for 12 months? How can I connect now to make a difference? If I make 5%, if I make 10% difference, I feel that I've made a big change. Sometimes, unfortunately, in the sport that we love, and we're all very passionate about, some people don't give you a long time in the coaching positions. So you can go for 1 month, you can start to understand the culture, you can provide a plan that you feel is going to benefit the club team, the national team, long term. But when the games start to come, then other challenges start to come as well. And that's far more difficult, I think, than culturally. I had the most wonderful time with some great people in India, in Maldives, in Papua New Guinea, in Fiji, when I was coaching in South Africa. And if we put the coaching expectations to one side, I really do think it is galvanizing, maximizing, because it would be easy to come somewhere and go, this can never work because socially it's difficult, culturally I don't understand, I don't want to understand. So I think it's really important from a human element that you try and provide as much as you can to learn to talk to people, to understand, and at some point you make your decisions. And like I said before, then you have your plan, and then you're ready to run your plan. And you need to be strong to stay with that plan, because if you've invested the time and you've given the interest and you've communicated and you've talked to key stakeholders and you've talked to parents and you've communicated with the players, then it's time to start implementing your plan and have the confidence and the courage that you can make a difference. Because, yeah, like I say, I mean, some places I've been to, it would have been easy to go, look, this is too difficult. And then, like I say, once you start playing and maybe the results don't come early and people want results to come early, and then you have to leave and you have another challenge come on your plate, that's life. But in the academy structure, working with young players, please stay honest and true to your heart, because you know within your heart the work that you've done, the people you've talked to, the communication you've had, the planning and organisation, that you've spent hours in doing. Please trust yourself. And there's a lot of people around the world with a lot of wisdom and a lot of ideas. And I was very lucky to be connected with some amazing coaches. But I wanted to also craft my own ideas. I wanted to have my own confidence. I didn't want to be referring to a book every time. I wanted to be on the field, and I wanted to try and challenge myself and leave that training field going, I really enjoyed tonight and I think it worked. Or, look, I was disappointed tonight with myself. My planning could have been better. I probably didn't execute the training session so well. And you just have this very honest opinion. You just have this very forthright. And honestly, gentlemen, surround yourself with people who you trust, who you can communicate to, and who will help and support you. And I've said on many occasions, I'm a phone call away. I'm a Skype call away. And I'm more than happy to be, I can't do it every day, but I can do it at different periods of time. And I'd love to continue helping people like yourself around the world that are truly passionate about making a difference in the game in your country or wherever, your football journey may take you.
Definitely. So anyone else has any question?
So if you need me to come to Nepal or you want me to come somewhere, just tell me and I can come.
So talking about your experience in the past, so your team was undefeated in 2010 World Cup, playing with Slovakia, Italy, and Paraguay. Italy being a big team, how do you prepare yourself or your team while playing with a big, giant footballing country?
Yeah, so Italy at that stage were ranked number 1 in the world, or they were the World Cup champions from the previous campaign. So we, again, if I take you back, when I first took on the challenge with the national team, we were 156 ranking in the world, not very high at all. The previous national team had a very poor campaign and hadn't qualified out of the group to go much further. So when I came on board, I thought exactly what I've mentioned to everybody listening in. I wanted to get my planning and organisation right. So I spoke to a lot of people. I then got the right people around me that I thought had the same passion, desire, commitment, nothing. We were never going to leave a stone unturned. No matter if we lost games, we were going to ensure that we were investing into everything we possibly could. Then I wanted to put a very, very strong, meaningful program in front of the team. And my second game in charge, we played Brazil before the 2006 World Cup. We played them in Geneva, and we were the only national team to play them. They didn't have any other international fixtures. And we lost 4-0 in that game. We then went into South America, and we got beaten on I didn't have all the best players, but we got beaten 4-0 in one game, 5-0 in another. But then, gentlemen, as time progressed, we started getting better, and we started to understand and learn what it was like to have to play and be competitive, and what we needed to look like to play against the best teams in the world. Once then we moved on and we became the first national team in New Zealand to win a game in Europe. We beat Georgia, we played them in Germany. Then we continued on and we qualified out of the group. And we had a home and away against Bahrain. And we maximised all the learnings that we'd had. But we'd started to develop an amazing culture, an amazing understanding, a strategy that players knew they could roll over in their sleep, and they fully knew every single role and responsibility that they had on that field and how they were connected to the players that played alongside or around them. Culture, if I can come back to that, played a massive part in that team performance in South Africa. They were the most bonded, strong, committed group of players that excelled to the highest level. And we worked hard. A great staff, excellent. And we would challenge the players. We would always test them. Before we went on the way to the World Cup, we went to, we had a tour, and we went and played Australia, who were highly ranked. We then went and played Serbia, who were ranked 11th in the world, and we beat them in Austria 1-0. We came back to South Africa and we played. Then we played Slovenia, and I put like a second team out, and we only got beaten 2-1 or 3-1 or something. Then we went to South Africa and we played Chile, and I put my starting 11 out for the first 65 minutes, and it was 0-0. I took 8 players off, and we lost the game 2-0. But I knew in my heart that we were close to making a massive input into the World Cup once it started, and I think we did. We were actually 76 ranking in the world when we went to the World Cup, and we got at the back of the World Cup, we got down to 47 in the world, which was an amazing from 156 4 years previously. So there were a lot of components in that, and I think it's like I say to you, I think if you're patient, you communicate, you plan, you organise, you talk to the right people, you get good people around you, because you'll find, gentlemen, when you go into coaching, there's not many coaching jobs in the world, and people want them, and I think it's getting aligned to people that are like-minded, positive, people that challenge you, but challenge you in a positive way, that understand the direction you're trying to go and that they're trying to help you. Then you have players that are totally committed, fully understanding, but they're only fully understanding because you have invested the time into them, that they understand their roles and responsibilities very, very strongly. But it was an amazing time in my life, and a very, very good group of players that I think served the game very well in New Zealand, and will continue to be a team that's looked upon very favourably for a number of years to come.
Definitely. So, does anyone else have any question? Like, I think this will be the last question before we wrap up.
Ricki sir.
Hello.
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I've been coaching Sahara Academy. So everybody knows that they are all orphans, and they have one fear. They cannot do anything in life. So how can I make them convince them to they can do the whatever they want? So how do you suggest me for that?
So sorry, I just missed the first part of your comment.
So I've been coaching Sahara Academy, right, sir?
Yep. Sorry, that you're just cutting out. I can't hear that first part.
I've been coaching Sahara Academy. And they are all orphans.
Oh, sorry, the children are orphans.
Yes, orphans.
Yes,
They
yeah.
have one fear. They have
Yeah.
a fear that they cannot do anything in life.
Yes.
So, what do you suggest me to that to tell them that what they can do whatever they want? What do you suggest about that?
Well, firstly, I would congratulate you on what you were doing.
All right, thank you.
That's very special what you're doing, and I think in time those children will understand the opportunity that you're providing for them is such an amazing opportunity, and well done. I'm very, very proud of what you're doing. That's fantastic for those children. So again, it's providing them that environment where they feel comfortable and they can sense and feel progress. And sorry, I just had a call coming in. And it's giving them the skills, it's giving them the challenges where they do make progress. And within themselves, they start to sense and feel that confidence of football being something in their lives that is a way of achieving. And whether that's juggling a ball 2 times today and 20 times in 2 months' time, or generally their skills become better and you can execute that and you can reward them for that and you can communicate to them for that, then their sense of well-being, their sense of achievement, their sense of being in an environment that's positive, that's good for their well-being. It's a place in their lives that they want to be and they want to come to, and I think that's the most important thing that you can do is not deter them from being there in any way. It's just to provide, and I'm sure I don't know you, but I can sense just by seeing you on the video that you're going to portray this very positive, shining light that come to my academy. It's a learning environment. We're going to help you in your lives, and I think they would cherish that, and I think you will see them bloom and become stronger and better and bigger, and that'll be amazing, and it'll be certainly something that I'd love to see some footage or something if we could get a video sent back to me of you working with some of those children, and maybe Sebastian, we could do a little video from my end, just sort of saying something to those kids or to anybody that's on the video call today, to even if it's just an acknowledgement from my perspective of saying, look, I wish you all the very best from around the world, and this is part of my background, and this is what I've done, and it's fantastic to see that you're loving and enjoying the game.
Yeah, we are.
Definitely, like I think on that note, I think we need to wrap up. I think Ricki has his training session, and probably if we don't let him go, he will never pick up my message again. So So on that note, Balgopal, do you have anything to say, like on the webinar?
Thank you very much, Ricki. It's really been a great conversation. Great to hear from you. So you've desired to come in Nepal, so probably maybe you can come to Nepal and we can have with chat and we can share, we can hear your knowledge, and so hopefully I think we'll keep on connecting. So
Yeah,
I think
please.
thank you, Subhasis, for this opportunity, and it's been really good. Thank you very much from my side to everyone.
Pleasure.
Vishnu,
No,
do you have anything to say?
It's a great pleasure to meet you guys, and thank you to everyone, and hope to see you soon again.
And Mahesh, bro, do you have anything to say to Ricki?
Yeah, Ricky, thank you very much, and thank you very much for this inspiring talks. And hope we have learned a lot from you. And in the near future, maybe you can come to Nepal. It's a beautiful country, so we can meet over there. Thank you very much, all the seated coaches over here.
So
thank you very much, and I'll look forward to keeping in touch. So thank you all very kindly for the opportunity, and good luck.
Definitely,
And good luck
definitely.
with
But,
everything you do.
from everyone, I'm sorry to cut you out, from everyone, I would extend a warm thank you to you. Like there are other coaches also present who did not speak. They just wanted to sit and see, and many of them did not get up early in the morning, so they could not be present. Here. So there were, like, we had around 17 of them, but many of them didn't get up, and probably now you have much more people to connect to in Nepal, where previously you had only me and maybe
Exactly.
Gary. So now probably you have much more, and hope to talk to you again soon. And thank you so much for coming and giving us a talk. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Take
Thank you,
care.
Ricky.
Take
Bye.
care. God bless. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.